Hi, I'm your host, Brittany Caldwell, and I thank you for joining us on Becoming, a show where we encourage, inspire, and motivate women to become all that God has created us to be. And one of the ways that we do this is through sharing our stories of faith, perseverance, setbacks, and victories. And today's guest who will be sharing her story is Dr. Rennick Lockhart. Dr. Lockhart is proud to be an orthodontist who loves her job. Her path of becoming an orthodontist involved almost 10 years of education, which she believes was well worth the effort. After graduating summa cum laude with a BS in biology from UNC Chapel Hill, Dr. Lockhart went on to attend UNC Chapel Hill's dental school. Not only did she obtain her DDS degree with distinction from UNC Dentistry, but she also met her wonderful husband, who is also an orthodontist. Dr. Lockhart completed her 3 years orthodontic residency training at Baylor College of Dentistry in Dallas, Texas. All of her years of training paid off when she received the honor of becoming a board-certified orthodontist. Lauren, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. One of the things I love about Lauren's story is that it is one of perseverance and having a goal and actually seeing it through to the very end. So I just want to start off by asking you, was dentistry always something you knew you wanted to do, or how did that work out?
Yeah, I would say I always was interested in a career in the healthcare industry, mainly because I had a direct example from my father. He's a family physician. I do think that I honed in on dentistry once my father did tell me one day, he said, you will have a little more autonomy if you go into the dental field, which means you can be your own boss, which I like the idea of. And also my personal experience with orthodontics led me to the career in orthodontics. I was very self-conscious before I had my braces, and after my braces were off, my confidence increased. I love to smile. So I just wanted to be able to share that with other people as well.
Other people, yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So, okay, dental school. What was that experience like for you? Because I know you went to Chapel Hill for undergrad and dental school.
That's
so
right.
What was dental school like?
Yeah, actually, I really loved dental school. It was very different from college for me. College was kind of like a means to an end for me because I knew I wanted to eventually become a dentist and orthodontist. So once I got to dental school, it was really like, wow, this is the first step of actually achieving my goals and doing the training that I need to do in order to become a dentist.
Right.
So I loved being in dental school. We had a class of 78 people. There were 12 of us that were African American. So we had a real close-knit community. Most of us really supported one another. And it was just nice being around people, like-minded individuals who had similar goals.
Right. Okay. So what about residency? How did that compare to dental school for you?
I think residency was a little different. That was the first time in my life where I moved away from North Carolina. You mentioned I did my residency in Dallas, Texas. So that was my first time being away from my family, my twin sister, who's also a dentist. We did school together. And then that program was a lot smaller. It was 6 of us. I was actually the first Black female to go to the program and attend that program. And I was the only minority at the program at that time. So it was a little difficult, sort of having that support system that I was used to having throughout dental school and college. So I felt somewhat of a sense of isolation at first.
Yeah, I can see that coming from a place where you had your family there, your support system, and then going to a place where you didn't have that. So what helped you just keep moving forward and stay strong? What was your foundation?
Yeah, I've always been sort of a long-term thinker, and that's something that my parents did instill in me. So I still had the end goal in mind, which is I gotta do this in order to get to the next step. But I'd say that I definitely met a wonderful group of people that I call my friends now in Dallas that I would have never known otherwise. So I'm thankful for the opportunity to develop a new support system and meet new friends and meet new people along the way as well. But I'd say the biggest thing is just keeping the end goal in mind.
Right. And I know that you also mentioned to me before that having a strong relationship with God helped you sustain you as well.
Absolutely.
So could you explain more about that?
Yes, absolutely. I did try to keep up going to church. There's so many great churches in Dallas, by the way.
Okay.
I probably had like 4 that I went to.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But there were a lot of different churches, and I actually went to church with some of my fellow residents as well.
Okay.
And I made friends with some of the dental students there as well. And we would just do things together. So I just really thank God for allowing me to experience that time in my life where I was out on my own and I kind of learned how to be a little more independent. And I think, a lot of that has to do with just God having me go through that experience as well.
Right, right. And then in the middle of all this, when did you meet your husband?
I actually met my husband in dental school.
Okay.
So we were friends in dental school.
Okay.
We didn't start dating until I was in ortho residency and he was in ortho residency in another state. So he went. He was in Florida.
Okay, and you got married after?
We got married right at the end of our residency program.
Okay.
So yeah, 2013
is when you got married, and then you
right.
both moved to New York.
We moved to New York for 1 year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was that experience like?
That was a big transition. Again, I'd already moved from my family from North Carolina, so now it's my first year of marriage, and I'm moving away again.
Right.
So that was a very difficult transition for the both of us. But I'd say the biggest thing was actually when we moved back to Charlotte from New York.
Okay.
You know, we had finished our residencies, finished our fellowships at that time, and we just thought, well, we got a lot of loan money. We're going to find jobs and just pay all our loans back and, you know, make money or whatever. Yeah. But it didn't turn out that way. It was very difficult to find an associate position for both of us being orthodontists, both of us being in the same field. There were not a lot of job opportunities in Charlotte. He did eventually find a job working 1 day a week, and I found a part-time gig working 2 days a month, but we did move back in with my parents, both of us, you know, so it was a difficult time in our life when we moved back to Charlotte and just expected to have jobs and
immediately,
yes.
I think that's how life can oftentimes be. It's like no matter how much we plan, it can sometimes go not how we plan.
Exactly.
It can look a little differently than how we plan. But the beautiful thing of having a relationship with God is knowing that He has the master plan.
Exactly.
So we don't have to worry or fear or have any doubt about what He's called us to do.
Exactly. He worked it out for us 100% because there were no job opportunities. That kind of forced us to look into opening our own practice. So we actually are very thankful that, you know, we didn't jump right into becoming associates right away because God opened the door for us. We were able to find a location to open our own practice. And 8 months after moving back to Charlotte, we opened the doors to Dual Image Orthodontics.
Dual Image Orthodontics in Charlotte, North Carolina. Awesome. So you are co-owners of that practice.
Yep.
So what did that teach you about yourself and trusting in God, the fact that things didn't look how you planned?
Yeah, absolutely. I do really feel that He will always work things out, even when they don't seem to be going your way. So throughout the process, we both decided to just trust in God. He'll pave a way for us. And, you know, it seems bleak at first. We're like, we don't really want to live with my parents. But, you know, you have to do what you have to do and, you know, go through those experiences. And we trust that God will work it out. And He certainly has worked it out for us.
And He started working out. And remind me, when did things start to turn around for you?
Yeah, so I would say it was really after we opened the practice, so about 8 months after moving back to Charlotte.
Okay, and what year was that you opened the practice?
This was 2015.
2015. Yep. Okay, and that's when things started to roll like how you thought it should. And
that's right.
Okay, all the pieces started to fall.
That's
together.
right. At least started getting there. They weren't all in place, but they started to get there.
Okay, great. Yep. And so, with having your husband as your business partner, what is that like?
Some days it's very difficult going to work with my husband, but we actually both feel very blessed to be able to be in the same field and to work together because we feel like we balance each other out very nicely. There's a lot of things in the business that he'll handle that I don't have to worry about, and vice versa. And I feel like his strengths are my weaknesses, vice versa. So it's just nice kind of having somebody that you trust wholeheartedly, and I think it makes running the business a little bit easier.
Right. And I know one thing you mentioned before to me was that you don't bring anything home.
Exactly.
So you keep it at work.
Exactly. We keep work at work, or at least try to, and keep home at home because we just don't want any issues to bleed into each other. So we do try to follow that rule, and it's been working out for us so far.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. It's a blessing.
Yes, it is.
And you have two kids.
And
one on the way.
Congratulations,
by the way.
Thank you.
So what is that like, being as driven as you are and having your business with your husband, but then also raising a family? What has that been like for you, and what has kept you, I guess you could say, sane in the midst of all of that?
Yes, it actually has been very difficult because, you want to be a great mom. You also got to go to work. But I'll say that it takes a village. I'm very blessed to have pretty much all of my immediate family members live in Charlotte, and my mom in particular has been very, very helpful in raising our boys, especially when we're in a bind and we need some childcare. She's been awesome. My husband's great, but again, I think it works out because we were in the same field. So even when I've gone on maternity leave, he keeps the business going, so we don't kind of falter there.
Right.
So we just work together to do our best to work everything out.
And it helps having family then around nearby, I'm sure.
Yep. My twin sister's here, my older sister, both my parents. When we get together a lot, my twin and I try to trade off making dinner, and we'll exchange meals for the family. So again, it takes a village.
It's amazing. So Based off your journey, what is one thing that you would have done differently?
That's a great question. I can't say that there's anything in particular that stands out, just because, again, even when things didn't seem to go my way, just trusting in God that it'll all work out. And I do feel like it worked out as it should.
Yeah, it should. Even the tough times and everything, it worked out the way that it should.
I wouldn't have traded it. That's right.
That is wonderful. So what do you have coming up in the future? What are your plans, your goals?
So my husband and I, we do want to expand our practice a bit so we can serve more of the community. Actually, last year we opened a second location with my twin sister in another part of Charlotte. So at that location we do dentistry. Well, she does dentistry and we do the orthodontics there.
What is it called?
Dual image dentistry and orthodontics. Yeah, we kept kind of a similar name there. So just expanding. Ultimately, I would like to taper down to 3 days a week, working 3 days a week, hire an associate, so that way I can sort of balance work and home a little bit better. And then as my kids get older, kind of participate in more activities with them as well.
Gotcha. And so in all of this, your journey, all that you've been on, who do you see yourself becoming?
I would say I see myself becoming an influencer, and that's mainly important to me from both a racial and a gender standpoint. I know that I didn't get to where I was on my own, so I really would like to be in a position to be a positive influence to others. And I think my career in particular puts me in a unique position to come across so many different people with different backgrounds and different walks of life. And I just want to be able to provide a sense of hope, or maybe even a resource for people who may be interested in walking my shoes as well.
Right. I love that. Giving back to the community. And you mentioned that you couldn't have did it on your own. Who were some of the people that impacted you to help you get to where you are today?
Absolutely. Yeah. I would say my parents, definitely both of them. I mentioned to you, my father's a family physician. My mom's actually a nurse. So both of them gave me a lot of great advice along the way and just have been great role models on balancing work and life. Even in dental school, I had a great mentor, Dr. Fraser Bauer. She was a Black female orthodontist who gave me a lot of advice, tips along the way, and we're still in contact to this day. So I would say family members and just different key people along the way have helped me stay grounded and help me achieve my goals as well.
That is amazing. Support systems are so important.
Absolutely.
What would you say to someone who's watching who feels like, I don't have that support system? Like I don't have that example. I didn't grow up with that example in my home, but I know I have this desire in my heart. What would you say to someone?
Yeah, I would say do your research. Find, even though you may not have anybody in the family, I know that can be tough, but do your research. Find any local professionals who may be in a field that you want to be in. Reach out to them, because I'd say that most professionals are willing to help young people out and pay it forward. So reach out to them, get any tips and advice from them. Letters of recommendations are also important. So, you want to get to know those folks as well, so you can have people backing you when you're trying to matriculate into the schools.
Right. I love that. So just foster relationships with people.
Exactly.
You're right. You never know. A lot of times we count ourselves out because we think, well, they're not going to help me, or, but you never know. People are out there that are willing to help.
Exactly.
So I love that advice. So what encouragement would you give to someone who wants to go to dental school, or may think that, it's too late for them to start? What would you encourage them? How would you encourage them?
I would say just keep the end goal in mind. Again, just think long term, because that's what kind of kept me through my journey. Just knowing that I had a goal in mind, and there are things that are going to be necessary to do in order to complete those goals. So just remain diligent, remain steadfast, and trust that God will work it out as well.
Right. Yeah, because a lot of times it can be very, very difficult. And I'm sure there are times where you may have wanted to throw in the towel or question.
Right.
Did you ever question, like, is this something that you've called me to do, God? Or did you always have that confidence of, it may be tough, but I know that this is what I'm supposed to do?
More like the latter. I do feel like, he put it in my head at a younger age. I knew kind of in high school that I wanted to, go this route. And once you're in it, you get to the point where it's like, I'm already too far to turn around now. Yeah. So I do feel like God kind of led me into this career, and I'm thankful for it. And I've been really blessed to be able to be an orthodontist, because it's really not a lot of us out there who are doing
that's
that.
True. Yeah. That's true. That's amazing that you have that you've had that confidence and you've held on to it the whole way, because it can be hard to see something through. Absolutely. From beginning to end.
Yes.
So I applaud you for that. That is amazing.
Especially when times get tough.
Yeah,
they do.
Exactly. So what is a typical week like for you?
Yeah.
What does it look like?
Well, It's pretty much the same each day. I go to work, wake up, go to work. And actually the boys now have a nanny. So that kind of helps out also with the work-life balance. But yeah, go to work, see my patients, and that's the funnest part of my job. I just love interacting with them, especially the teenagers. We get a lot of teenage patients. Some of them don't like to talk to me, but it's okay. For the most part, it's a fun job to be able to interact with so many people throughout the day. I'd say I see mainly interact with at least 60 people a day. So that's always a good experience to be able to go do that. And then I get to come home, and the boys just give me so much joy, my children, even though it's another job when I get home, doing my mom job duties, making dinner and playing with the kids. I really wouldn't trade anything for the world, just because I feel blessed to be here. Yeah.
So I was going to ask you that too. What was the most rewarding part about what you do?
Yeah, I would say just doing it for my kids. I think that my parents worked hard for me, and they provided for me. I don't think I was spoiled, but they provided for me, and I wanted to be able to do that for my kids as well. So I'd say now that, yes, I've become an orthodontist, sort of I'm in the next stage of my life. I have young kids, 3 and 2, and then 1 on the way. So the next phase in life is just raising them to be good, obedient servants of the Lord as well, and being able to provide for them so that they can enjoy some things in life as well.
Yeah. And I know that you mentioned too that your patients bring you so much joy.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes. It's so interesting in the orthodontic field. We see the people for roughly 2 years at a time. So it's really nice. You see somebody, they're getting ready to go into high school, and then they look like a kid, but then they come back like next month once they started high school, and they're just grown. So it's just nice being able to grow with the patients, see them transition, and to be a part of that.
Well, your story is definitely one that is encouraging, because you did not let the fact that it wasn't easy stop you.
Right.
You kept going, and then your foundation, just with your family, having a strong support system, but also your relationship with God had a lot to do with what kept you going.
Exactly.
So that is beautiful. Is there anything else that you want to share or add?
I just want to say, for anybody who does have a goal in mind, just stick with it, and trust that God will work it out. Be diligent, be bold, and stay strong.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Lauren, for sharing your story.
Of course.
And thank you all for watching. I pray that Lauren's story was a blessing to you as much as it was for me. And I can't wait to see you become all that God has created you to be. Thank you so much for watching.